Porque that interview was bullshit.
Brian, okay, let me put my lipstick. The
Okay.
police is here shooting people. I can't hear the shoots from here. Okay,
Yeah.
go.
No, we're already live. But go and put on your lipstick.
Let me come back.
Go and put on your lipstick and come back. We're already live. That was a crazy interview. The women from Canada they're coming on in a second as well. If you would like to join, just let us know. And we will add you to the conversation as well. I know that we have been talking about going live a for quite a while. So if you would like to join us, fill it in. There's a link. Let us know, and we will add you to the team because we have a lot to say about what is going on. Y recuerden estar en múltiples lenguajes. Y aquí está otra de las macheteras. Aquí está Dash con su cámara que está bien nublada o está fumandito un poquito.
No, espérate un segundo porque tengo que limpiarlo con agua. A ver.
Y yes, so this is what is going on. So Telemundo, that was rancid.
It was raggedy.
Raggedy and rancid. And I just wrote the producer and I just told her my few thoughts in a not so nice way. And, you know, she apologized, but an apology does not mean anything. I think it was just very foul. And foulness doesn't go far with me. I rarely do interviews with those kinds of foul conglomerates. And I decided to do it because there was a personal contact that reached out to me that I trust. But I'm going to stick to what I know and not do that anymore. So, no more.
Why was it so short?
I was supposed to be for the hour. I guess I would rather the white reporters on the street running behind non-black folks, even though it's about we can't breathe anymore. Those are more comfortable. Maybe it's the locks. I don't know. Who cares?
Well, because you said you were sick. You said that estamos harta. You said that you were sick. They were like, oh shit, no, we're not equipped for this. Maybe. But
that was real fast.
Huh?
They caught me real fast.
Yeah. Like with the
real fast. I was like, wait a minute. Because they had told me I was going to be there for the full hour, accompanying them, giving them feedback. It was going to be like a roundtable conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They had also asked me for my talking points, and I do not give talking points, especially when I know I'm going to be one of the only Black people speaking. I'm not giving you my talking points because then you're going to digest my talking points. Hey! And I know what my talking points are going to turn into. My talking points are going to turn into your talking points.
Did I see? Wait. Oh, there's Ev.
My talking points will turn into your talking points. And then that's what happens, right? So we're not doing multiple talking points. That's what we're not doing. Yeah. So that, I didn't send in talking points. I told them that I wasn't going to send in talking points. They asked me what I wanted. Somebody is Jax. Okay, is coming in. Do we let them in?
Who is that person?
Jax?
I don't know. Oh, I think that might be my cousin.
Okay. Identify.
Hey, Jack Attack.
Hi,
my cousin. From She's from Canada.
Oh, we hear them. Okay, there we go.
You hear me? Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
What? It's so strange talking to my cousin in English. So we'll be speaking both languages. Es que no estoy acostumbrada.
Whatever.
Peña Negra is back and forth.
Right? You know. It ends up being like you end up like speaking English to Spanish speakers and then speaking Spanish to English because you're like, what? Doesn't everyone speak Spanish and English?
Exacto. Entonces Jack attack. Porque Jack was like, what? Jack attack. ¿Qué tú pensaste?
I was okay. I'm sorry. I'm still so triggered, and I was so annoyed. First of all, he said Janvieve.
I know.
Okay. First of all, get your name right. Get your name right. Yeah, he said it like 3 times. I was already annoyed. And then he, of course, like the officer that he interviewed is not, like, he's a white guy. Like, why are you like?
The entire
I'm sorry. I just
white.
Well, every single person that they got was white.
Yeah, like I'm like, why is he here? And he's just like, obviously he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. As soon as I finish, I'm like, what is going on? He doesn't get it. Oh no, you know, like what about, you know, as soon as it turns violent, it shouldn't be like this. I'm like, if this system can work for people, how are you gonna have loyalty for the system? I don't get it. I'm in Toronto right now. Crazy here. It's insane.
Toronto is another myth. People think that Toronto is so peaceful and so racially harmonious. Mm-hmm. And it's not that. It has universal health care.
Yeah, that's the good part about it. Yes.
And it has good Greek food.
What's that?
It has good Greek food.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it's like
and Caravana.
And Caravana, yeah. Cancel Caravana's fun. Yes.
Not
but
this
but a lot of people think it's like, oh, Toronto's like so multicultural, like blah blah blah. It's like,
yeah.
Is it really? Mentally, no, it's not.
Exactly. No, I was really, 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 really upset. I'm really upset. And then I'm like, but Janvieve, what were you thinking? I'm also in that space about what were you thinking? So
well, the thing is that they do need people that know what they're talking about. You're filling the void that
but they don't want that though.
It's true. You know? I read a comment, and I mean, as someone who worked in mainstream news, I used to work at CNN, and they're racist as hell. They're anti-Black. People they're surprised that Don Lemon is like outspoken on issues. I worked with Don 10 years ago. He was always outspoken, but he couldn't be outspoken because he didn't have job security. They continuously always mixed up Don and TJ Holmes. They look nothing alike. I had a producer when I was working at CNN on American Morning. I was a production assistant. And a white woman who always reminded me that her boyfriend was Black. You know, she needed to remind me that she liked Black dick. I don't know how this was her way of connecting. Right. She also felt that she connected with me because she said her mother used to clean the homes of rich Jewish people. And I'm like, my mother cleaned no one else's home besides her own. Why do you think that this is something that we can bond with, you know? But she had asked me to give the scripts to Don one time when TJ was subbing for the show. And I wrote back, I'm like, Don isn't here. She's like, oh, I meant TJ. And I remember one time he went off on a rant because I was working at a station in New York and he was in Atlanta. And we were just chatting in the kitchen and he was like, I am sick of security asking me for ID when I enter into this building. He's like, I'm on TV here. I work here. And he said security always gave him problems going into the Time Warner Center. And it's like the security people have TVs there at, in the lobby. And so it's like, you just gave this man all this trouble to get into the building, and he's about to do a live shot, in 20 minutes. And so, it's really typical, but I think Latino media makes it a point, like they go even more out of their way to be anti-Black.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I was ready for them because I knew that they were going to focus on, I knew that they were, and they probably still are focusing on the violence and the looting and all that kind of stuff. I know that's going to be like their primary focus, right? And that's what I really focused on in regards to like the historical looting and the violence, right? In regards to the kidnapping that happened, not only, by bringing people into the United States and the settler colonialism into United States, but also into our countries of origin, and how white people, including them, benefited from that. Mm-hmm. And I was going to go there in regards to like, we really need to examine those practices and what has led to that, and also like the value of women. And I was going to talk about the garbage bag, right? Mm-hmm. Because to me, it's one piece, right? And Jackie in Panama, Dash lives in Panama, Jackie. And in Panama, there is this, hay una bolsa de basura.
Mm-hmm. Where is it?
And it's on the Caña Negra page as well, que se llama La Negrita. No, is that Plastinac? And it's, right? And it says La Negrita Resistente, right? Mm-hmm. And I was going to bring that in because that is violent.
Mm-hmm. I almost forgot about this.
Right, that leads to the devaluing of our bodies, right? So and to me, like an ad like that, right? When you think about like raping of Black women and Black women being able to be pounded on viciously and violently, that ad, that's what that ends up in. La Negrita Resistente, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it. So that's what looting to me is. So that garbage bag is looting to me. So don't talk to me about looting when you're selling those bags and people are buying it.
And it speaks to the stereotype of us always being resistant or resilient or
exactly. Right?
Black women. So you can do anything to us because we'll just bounce back. It's not a big deal.
Exactly.
We're always for service, right? Exactly. Like it's like for something that you need. Like there's a
talk to me about looting in Latin America, and so many of our people choosing to go to white doctors. And a lot of them are white supremacist doctors too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we don't have access to, all three of us here are doulas, Jackie, right? And you want to be a doula too, right?
Yay!
Yeah.
Join the army.
So, like looking at that as even practices where white supremacists are, those practices.
And causing harm even under the guise of trying to do certain things. So it's like they're still prioritizing themselves, they're still centering themselves, they're still isolating. And it's like also the co-opting of protest is also something that I feel needs to be kind of thoroughly fleshed out, or even just fleshed out a little bit more, because of this idea that the people that are out there protesting, even within the protest, because we're in this racial structure, they still stand to be treated better than the people that they're supposed to be protesting for. They're protesting out of boredom, right? In some instances, they're not even protesting out of like real desire to have some sort of shift. And that is super frustrating for me right now. Like yesterday I was watching, I was on Twitter watching the stuff that was happening in Soho in New York City. Mm-hmm. Until like 3:00 in the morning, where the stores are getting vandalized or whatever, or the right. And I was just like, folks ain't out here like,
A lot of them are interlopers.
yeah,
Like,
a lot of them.
Anarchists, just white kids that want to cause trouble, that want to stunt for their social media, that want to steal, that want to break windows. I've seen so many examples on social media of Black people who are out there actually protesting for their lives, normal stuff, which shouldn't be normalized, but protesting for their lives. And you see these white interlopers or undercover cops breaking out windows, trashing things, causing an uproar. And then, of course, they're echando la culpa on the Black protesters. And the Black protesters are like, we're over here. Like, what is the need for us to break into whatever? And you see on these videos, it's all white kids and white people and white men mostly.
With
that
like carrying boards, carrying like surfer boards, just like walking out. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, with African masks, with African print masks. Okay, everybody wants an African. Look at Evelyn.
It sounded to me that people aren't. I'm like, are you watching the same video I'm watching? Because these are all white people. Are your eyes not working all of a sudden now?
Now, the thing is, I do think that white people need to be doing that. I do think that white people need to be demonstrating while Black people need to take a step back. I really do think that. Why? There are many reasons why. One of them is that there is a pandemic going on right now. And we have less access to healthcare. That's a real thing. When we get to the hospitals, there is a life and death choice that is being made in the hospitals, and they will choose a white life over me. I know that. So I can't afford to get sick. It's really we're at that level right now.
Right.
And second, I feel like there is no we in this equation for me. We didn't create this. I was not an active participant in the creation of this white supremacy business, in this capitalist business. I was not a we in this. So I don't feel like I feel like there's a role for me to show up, but not like that. And I'm not doing it. That's just and I support those that are choosing to do that. And I also have 2 children, so I'm also holding that. So I'm all up in there, and there's something, and then this might sound a little bit, controversial. For me, there's also this piece around this was happening before George Floyd. This was happening at the point where ventilators were not being accessible to people. It is that we couldn't see the images, but we were hearing that ventilators were not being made available to human beings. It just how we couldn't see the emails. We couldn't see the images, so people weren't as enraged. But now that we saw an image, now folks are really enraged. But I was enraged when I was hearing about folks need to sacrifice their lives if they're old. People can't get tests in the Bronx. People can't get tests in different areas of the city. I was being enraged about that. People don't have access to healthcare. People are in jails and they can't get out and they're getting COVID. So this is what it took, yes, but we should have gotten there before.
Yeah, they prioritize what's important to them.
Right.
And I'm not mad because this is how people come in at different stages, and I'm not mad at any of that. I think people need to come in when people come in.
Yeah.
Eso es un proceso de revolución y eso yo lo respeto.
It's crazy. With the looting, I was just watching that Cimarronaje in Panama, and I did a little Twitter rant, and I'm like, nothing has changed in 500 years. You know, the Maroons were a problem for the colonizers because they were sabotaging those caravans of looted gold and silver that they were pilfering from, you know, Bolivia and Peru. And the Maroons were like, no. And they became a nightmare for them. And with all of these, you know, they tried to do a treaty. They tried to agree on things because they would have rather just killed off the Africans or had them, you know, disappeared. They were a problem. They were an issue. And when Bayano went to the dinner with the colonizers, they drugged him and then took him to Spain to die. I'm like, you can't trust these people. Yeah. You can't trust the white establishment. And I was just like, yo, like nothing has changed. Like it's maybe changed the name, but not even really, you know? And I'm like, this has been the agenda. This has always been the agenda. And the fact that this US president is calling for the military to intervene, you know, the society has to have active participants in anti-Blackness. They have to have these cops and these soldiers to hate Black bodies, because then they can do the bidding of the white establishment. You know, because you think about it, and all of these cops, all of these military people are people. They're individuals. And you're like, how can you do this to another human? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But if they don't even see us as humans, it's very easy to do. And so with this whole anti-Blackness campaign, 500-year anti-Blackness campaign, they know that they can call the military. They know that they can call the cops. They know that these people are going to do their bidding. It doesn't matter if they're white, Asian, Black. They're going to buy into the anti-Blackness campaigns, you know. And it's crazy because I look at these videos and you feel the hate just like jumping out of the video. They go directly for Black bodies. They like don't even see no one else besides the Black bodies. And you know, when they dive at them, when they beat them, when they pull them, when they break the glass, it's scary to watch because you see a person doing that to another person and you can feel the hate jumping out of the screen. It's terrifying. And I'm watching these videos and I'm terrified and I'm like, and I'm not even there, you know? It's sick.
Yeah. And I feel like this is going to be exported. This is already happening in Brazil. This has been happening in Brazil. And I feel it's going to be exported into different countries. I don't, you know, where there is right-wing presidents, Colombia, for example. Colombia's there. Panama, I don't feel is going to get there because the president, I don't feel, is that to the right. He's right, but he's not to the extreme right. But there's subtle policies there in Panama at play. There's silent ones, right?
But you know, Javier reminded me today, or rather informed me, because I hadn't heard about this in 2000. When did he say? 2011. They let a fire. They basically burned five men alive in a jail.
Ooh, in Panama?
In Tocumen. Because we were talking about just the different videos that have been floating around. And he had reminded me of a video he took in 2013 of these cops beating up a Black guy in Panama. It was like 4 of them beating him up because they were doing the transition from the Diablo Rojo to the metro buses. And were crowded going onto the buses. And they pulled one Black guy out. One of the officers started waving a gun. And then the Black guy was trying to get on the bus through the front door, the regular way. And they're pulling him off of the bus. By that time, it's like, just leave the guy alone. He's on the bus. Pulling him, slam him on the ground. It's about 4 of them kicking and hitting and beating him. And Javier was there. He witnessed it. He said that by the end of it, the guy's all bloody. And the guy just kept saying, quiero ir a mi casa, quiero ir a mi casa. And it's like, they're doing this and they're not seeing a human. They're seeing a problem. And so we were talking about that because we're going to discuss this on Thursday on our live. And so then he said in 2011, at the juvenile jail in Tocumen, the police burned 5 teenagers, mostly Black, in a jail cell. This was following a protest the kids staged because they had went 2 weeks without water. The police refused to let the fire department in, and you hear them screaming at the kids to die. You hear the kids crying, burning, and suffocating. The irony was that it happened on January 9th, Martyrs Day. Martyrs Day.
And I just found it. It was 2011, 7 menores de edad. 5 perdieron la vida, quedaron atrapados en un incendio en su celda en el Centro de Cumplimiento de Menores de la localidad de Tocumen. El fuego ocasionado por bombas lacrimógenas lanzadas desde afuera por agentes policiales con la intención de controlar un motín, quienes también impidieron que los bomberos pudieran sofocar un siniestro a tiempo.
I didn't even know what this. I was like, can we table that discussion for tomorrow? Because I'm like, I can't take it.
No, I can't even like.
I'm very triggered right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry. I should have did it.
Yeah. This is like reality.
Like, unbelievable.
My question to you all is like, how do you have these type of conversations with kids? For example, like how do you tell a kid, like educate kids about everything that's happening? Janvieve, I asked you this earlier. I don't know. I mean, I'm just like, it's really overwhelming, you know?
I'll ask Evelyn to answer first because I'm just learning. Evelyn has an older son. Because for me, it's like a trial basis, and I'm like, I feel like half the time I'm fucking it up.
I mean, I think that there are different ways, but one of the things you have to figure out is what you want to tell your kid, right? I feel like there's a space that it all depends on how old they are, what they're taking in independently. Because if they're smaller, you can take the time to curate whatever they take in differently. My son is 15. So there's a lot of the information that he's taking in that is independent from me, right? And so that requires a different type of engagement. And then you also have to really decide, I think, for each person, like what kind of parent you want to be. Like there are going to be moments to have discussion versus telling them. If my son was 6 and 7, I might have to tell it and frame it a specific way. But he's 15 years old and he's coming up with his own answers. And so I feel more like my role is to help him navigate the questions. I don't have answers, right? I don't have answers, and I don't know how he's supposed to feel. What I do think that I try to do as a parent is spend a lot of time thinking about how to hold on to his childhood. I think that there's a space where we run the risk of robbing kids of childhood by giving them too much front information. And I think that is something that I think of quite a bit. Luckily, there are lots of great opportunities to help kids retain childhood and to have really great conversations with them. Like I know that listening to like AfroResistance Cuentitos, I think a lot of the books have really touched on themes that are super helpful. And also just like what do you want your kid to know, right? Like for me, I think it's important for my son to know that you have a right to question everything, even if that makes me uncomfortable. For example, today, yesterday I sent a stern email to the school that he goes to. He goes to like a, bougie ass school with not too many Black people. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, y'all fucking up. Like, you haven't released any kind of statement. And what does that do for the students that attend? Typically, I don't make it a point to even be trying to engage white people. Like, I don't care, right? I'm not in this place where I am not one of those people that is like, oh, my white friends. I'm not checking for them. I'm trying to hold on to my Black people right now. Like, I am not checking for white people. But in this case, my son goes to school there, right? We have community there and he lives there. So it's like you have a responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, to really make your students know that you see them. And so what they did today, their response was that they sent some information about a Zoom call that was being held for Black males. So I sat in part of this phone call, and it was, I should have known, like when I started reading a little bit more between the lines, it was like by, organizations that were kind of a little bit like Black people, but not like niggas like us. So it was definitely, I did a lot of listening, and it was a lot of kind of Black people that were kind of like all lives mattering the situation. There were a lot of people that were pretty affluent, right? Speaking of CNN, one of the kids that spoke was talking about how their parents are on air. One of their parents is on air at CNN, and they recognize that they have privilege and affluence and all this other stuff. And that was great for the kid, but they were also sharing stories where they had been discriminated against in some sort of way. And after that, I really did have to have some type of conversation with my son, because he knows that I stand on a more extreme perspective of like, fuck these fools. We not out here trying to make friends with these people. Right? And that was kind of like, so that was a moment where I encouraged him to have this thought process, and then was just like, and this is where I stand. Where I stand is somewhere, kind of more moderate, but this is where I stand. And I really I struggled with it, because, dude was like, don't start, right?
And the call was for males, for Black males?
Yeah, the call was for Black males. Yeah.
And their mamas, or just?
No, I mean, there were a few mamas. Like I wouldn't, I was just like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him having affinity group space.
Okay.
Right? That did not bother me. I also I felt it was interesting, because in these types of independent boarding school spaces, I think that if you're not careful, like your kid will also come out thinking that they are fucking unicorns.
Yeah.
And so I was really like, check yourself, homie. But I think that speaks again to the goals that each parent has. And I think that one of the more challenging things is when parents don't have specific goals. Like, I don't think their goals are just about economic pays, because I think people spend a lot of time thinking about the economic goal. I want you to grow up and get a guy, go to a good school. But I mean, like, fundamentally, what are your goals for their humanity? What are their goals for their personhood? What are their goals for are you wanting to raise someone who is curious? Are you wanting to raise someone who is a thinker, who is kind, right? These are elements that I think require some level of intentionality. And when we're not focused on those things, we get to a situation or a circumstance like the one we have now. There are generations of people that did not raise their children to be kind, that did not raise their children to be cognizant of other people, that did not raise their children to be even aware of their environments, of their surroundings, in ways that are able to cause change. And so that is something that I always think about. I think about a lot lately. I think about the fact that we're spending a lot of time with our children now, and what do we want them to know about culture, right? About like our own culture. And I feel like if we have those types of conversations, that the conversations about what is happening now will be more organic and fluid, and they'll be less preachy. Because then, if you have a great relationship with your kid and you're making tamales, you can turn around and watch Star Wars, which when we talk about like breakdown of the empire, right? There are lots of things that we're watching already that we can continue to like utilize. So I think that for me, having an adolescent, like that's a thing. Like the other day I was watching, what's that show on Netflix? Blood and something?
Blood and Water. I watched it.
Blood and Water? Yeah. Blood and Water. And it's like, I thought it was going to be something. And somebody was like, child, it's a South African Degrassi. Right?
Yeah. And was it cute?
You know what?
Yeah, that's right.
It was right. And it was, you know what? It was cute, and it was age appropriate. And it was like one of those things where adolescents do stupid ass adolescent things.
Wait, but I'm going to say something with that, because like these kids were having sex, and I'm like, I'm a 33-year-old woman watching a high schooler have sex or attempt to have sex. I fast forwarded it. It felt I was like, this is Dash, right? And I was thinking to myself like,
And it's so funny because those are the types of things that really do force you to confront your reality. Because in theory, I'm very sex positive. In practice, I was like, don't look, right? But these are the things, right? These are the things that you want to be able to bring forth to your children. Like, for example, today's conversation, I had no problem with him being in a room full of, in an environment that was like Black male centered. But then I was also like, some of these comments, mad patriarchal, son. This is raggedy.
Did they have a Black girl one? Like, I'm still not over that. Like, is it?
I don't know. I don't know
that.
I don't know. I mean, I'll investigate and report back. But I think,
no, it's just because the erasure of Black women in this conversation.
You know what? In this interview, I think they were like, "Oh, she's bringing in women and trans people. We can't talk about that."
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Because I was like, I am not gonna make women invisible. I'm not doing that. One, I would not be able to sleep tonight, and two, my community would crucify me. Like, I can't do that.
But that's not who you are inherently anyway. Like,
exactly.
That's not you. So
but that was like, now that I'm thinking, based on what you just said, I was like, that probably also led to that. They were like, cut that. Cut that.
Yeah. Those are the types of things that I feel like, so when I go back to the original point of what do you want your children to know, or how do you have those conversations? It all starts with having a confidence, a foundation of what it is that is important to you, because then you can relay that over and over and over. If human rights in general are important to you, then that's just going to be the foundation of the conversation that you have with your children, no matter what is happening. So you're more easily able to do the balance of introducing challenging topics while still being able to say, and that's why we fight. That's why I work. Right? Like, that's why we're going to continue to do this work. And that's why we are out here doing XYZ, so that they can feel connected to the cause that is important to you, versus sitting back at home and being like, all we're doing is watching this on TV. And there's no shade about watching on TV, but like, there's also I think that those are the types of things that begin to create the them versus us. Like, we don't need to go out and do this. We are over here. And that perpetuate some of the very same things that we don't want to experience.
It's scary because I don't have kids yet, and I'm not really interested in them quite yet. And I was just talking today about how, I shared a video with my husband. He's in Cuba, and there were Cubans like protesting the cops these past few days. And I think it's at a fever pitch because the shortages are out of control. Right now, the situation is like outlandish. And then just generally, even though cops in Cuba don't kill Black people, they still target them. They still ask for their ID. Where are you? They still treat them inhumanely, period. They get arrested more. They get checked more, all of the script. And so I saw these protests, and I forwarded it to Hugo, to my husband. And I'm like, yo, like, the Cubans, like, they're done. They're like, fuck this. And I said the difference is, though, that these Cubans will tear up these police's asses. Like, they will beat them up. My husband told me about one incident when he was a teenager. The jefe de sector in his neighborhood got in a fight with a teenager, William, he's always been like big and strong. And the jefe de sector, his gun went off accidentally. This was back in the day. I don't know why he even had a gun, but it accidentally went off. And there's this like a calle principal, Montes, in Havana. And when the gun went off, Hugo said that everyone in the community started throwing bottles at the jefe de sector. Someone threw an old TV. They were like just beat, like he was like half dead, because they were like, what? You shot a kid? What? We don't care if it was accident. We don't play that. And someone had to like get him out of there because they were gonna kill him. And so in the video, the Cubans were like almost about to kill the cops, And Hugo has had interactions where he actually turned it around, and like the cop was like, let me see a carnet, right? Your ID card. And he was like, no. And the cop was like, excuse me? And he was like, ask those blanquitos over there for their carnet, and then I'll show you mine. And then the cop was like, never mind, and he walked off, and then Hugo pursued him and was like antagonizing him. And the cop was like, please leave me alone. Like the cop was like scared, right? But
well,
also
that wouldn't work here though.
Exactly. And so that's the, like we were just, talking about that and commiserating. And I was relaying that situation to a friend of mine. And I'm like, yo, I feel bad for for anyone who does anything with our kids, because one of us always ready to fight. If it's both of us ready to fight, like, forget it. In situations when I'm ready to fight, you go, it's like, all right, let me, like one time I was ready to fight some casa owner that disrespected him, actually. That's like slammed the door in his face because we work in tourism. And this was a house that we were using for a client. And they basically pegged Yuko as a jinetero, like a hustler. And they didn't believe that he was like, he owned this tour company. So they slammed the door in his face. And I went there the next day, looking to see
what's.
And it ended up escalating because the woman was saying, oh, well, your husband did this. I'm like, no, he didn't. I know him. He didn't do that because he's really consistent. And then I was like, I was getting ready to fight. And Hugo was like, sit in the car. And he was the one that was transgressed, right? And so like we feed off of one another in that way. Like when he's mad, I'm calm. When I'm calm, he's mad, vice versa. But there's certain situations where we're both mad. Like we would have been in that cop situation, right? And so I'm like, damn, like I'm actually quite frightened about having children, like raising children in this time. And like Janvieve, like your kids are young right now, and you have two.
Did they ask you, yeah, Jan, how do they ask you, what's the conversation?
Well, it's, as Evelyn said, as Evelyn was talking, I was like, okay, I could see things, like, because we are, Omara and I are both grounded in values, right? In the same values. So the conversations are the same, right? So what's happening now, they don't know exactly what's happening right now, this minute. They know that police brutality happens, right? So, and they know that we don't like the police and they don't like the police. Mm-hmm. They know that the police carry guns and we don't like guns. They know that the police carry handcuffs and we don't like handcuffs. We just don't like the police. Because the police are not our friends, right? So for example, they're not allowed to even high five police guards at the school. And the schools at the police don't carry guns. But let's not get confused, they're still police. Right? And they know that, and they tell other kids that. Oh no, you're still police.
Police at schools?
Yeah.
And Jackie's like, it's another world over there.
School safety is run by the NYPD.
Yeah, school safety at the police, at the schools, all public schools, even elementary schools, have police guards.
So like the safety agents are employees of the NYPD, even if they don't carry guns.
And they have a police uniform.
Yeah.
So it's not, and for years, some parents, including myself, have been requesting that they don't wear uniforms, that they wear regular clothes. Mm-hmm. But they have to wear uniforms.
Oh my God.
So it's an indoctrination.
Yeah.
So are not allowed to be friendly to them.
Just like keep it moving.
Yeah.
Keep it moving, right?
Yeah, keep it moving.
So that's like one way. We're gonna keep it consistent, right? Right. Now I recognize their humanity. They're both Black people. I say good morning to them, but we keep it moving, right? So that's like one way of like, we're not friends. And what's happening now, I'm glad they're not in school, because I would be like, you don't talk to my kids. Like I would be very clear. You don't address my kids. You see my kids, you look the other way, because I would be very clear with that communication. But right, like we have conversations around like violence against women, violence against our trans brothers, sisters, and siblings. And we use that kind of language. So like we spoke about like, the trans folks that have been killed. in Puerto Rico, for example. And Nancy was very concerned. And Nancy's like, but they're not even doing anything to anybody. And we had a conversation. Exactly. They're not doing anything to anybody. And, and it's like, but why are they hurting them just because of that? And then Gibran had this thing around like, I'm glad I'm a boy and I look like a boy and I feel like a boy. And we spoke about that privilege of knowing that and feeling that and looking like that. Right. And having that safety and linking that to like, and some people look at us and they know that we're Black and they don't like Black people and we're still at risk. And how that in itself is risky business. Right.
And it's important to balance that with like just really a lot of cultural pride, which is why I always default to like culture. Because I think that if we're not careful, then we stand to run the risk of like, oh my goodness, my whole life is like just an accident waiting to happen, and nobody wants their children to also feel that.
Absolutely, and we have a lot of that. We have, our whole house is a shrine to that, right? Mm-hmm. As you know, Jackie, right? Your mural Jackie painted the mural in my house.
Oh, okay.
That you all always ask about. Jackie is the painter for that.
You have what is your project called? What's your project called, Jackie? The Toronto, huh?
Which one?
The streetcar one?
Streetcar named Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackie has many projects.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm blessed. But there isn't a lot of Black females doing this, so I'm you know what? I take pride in it. I take pride.
You're not blessed. You're talented. You earned it. Don't be like, oh, I'm blessed. Like, no, bitch, you worked for it, right? Okay. Like, I don't like that. I'm telling you, in 2020, let's retire that shit of just thinking that somehow the universe, out of all these other motherfuckers, chose you and you won't have to do shit. You worked for it. You learned how to do it. You got the talent. You got the coins. Period, Pooh.
Yes.
Do that shit.
Yes. I'm proud. I take pride. I take pride. Yes. Yes.
No,
but it's scary though. It's scary. Like now, even being outside, I haven't done any projects outside or anything, but it's like everyone's just really, on edge. I was outside yesterday, and it's seeing everybody with their mask on and stuff. It's like, it's the new normal, I guess. Yeah.
But you always wear your mask, no?
Yeah. I do. But everybody else is like, masked up and
because just like Jackie and Sharon always have their big mask with the big breathing thing.
Yeah. No, I honestly just want to walk around with that thing on like at all times. Scary.
Wait, is that bathroom?
Yes. Yes. It's like big old.
Yeah, that's what she wears.
I'm not mad. I'm gonna myself in saran wrap when I go outside. I wish I'm gonna have to get me like a little bodysuit that is clear. So in the summertime when I go sit on the beach, I'll have like a bathing suit under like my clear saran outfit with a bikini. Wait.
Yes. Hey, that's a beautiful mask. I love that mask.
Like a string bikini saran wrap.
Yes. You'll be like,
but I'll be so sweaty though.
Listen, you know what? You lose some of this fat too, so it's a win-win.
You know what I brought back from Colombia? I brought back that cellulite wrapping. I'm about to like wrap myself.
What?
It's like a saran wrap. It's a saran wrap. It's the wrap that you put. I didn't bring it back for that though. They bought it for me to bring liquor back because that's what you seal the bottles with. But Evelyn, we can put that on our body.
We have that in Colombia.
Chloe would die. It'd just be like, you know what? After that, I'll run Chloe. I'll do some Chloe in my saran wrap and then just pass out. That's gonna be it.
Every manner of faja, any manner of push it and tuck it and pin it and disappear it in Colombia. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, and I'm Via Argentina too.
Oh yeah.
Via Argentina also has every single form of faja there.
Yeah.
And the beating one. What is the beating one called? Maderoterapia.
Oh
God.
That's
right.
Some, S&M stuff.
No, some of those fajas are like, it's BDSM. I'm like, I just rather
that's what I no. If you find Maderoterapia in Panama, you can find that a lot in Panama. They actually beat you with wooden sticks.
To redistribute the fat, like to smooth it out.
Yes, they have a beaten stick, rolling pin. Oh yeah, I went once, and I bought a group one.
Slave fantasies.
You bought a group one to get beat.
I didn't know it was that though.
Did
then
it
I got there, and the woman starts beating me, and I had to be like, no.
No.
I was like, no, can I get something?
Oh my God.
It was hard. And then she said, it helps to. No, I was like black and blue in my butt the next day. Yes. But now I did see a little shifting of cellulite though.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, those
how long did they do it for, and how long did it last?
It was like 40 minutes. No, it was good.
Thank you.
Constant beating, like beating your body.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a link right now. It's called Madero Terapia.
Wait, let me write this down. Madero Terapia.
Oh, they have it in New York City. Look at that.
I've never heard. Yeah, I don't think they have that here. Maybe they do.
They probably do.
I'm sure they do.
That's slavery. That's cruel and unusual punishment.
Wow.
You feel like you were being whipped as an enslaved person?
No. That's triggering.
Yeah.
It was
paddle. It was a paddle that she was just beating your butt
Hold
with.
on, I'm going to put an image. Calm down.
Oh my God.
No.
Everybody wants to now see what
I'm about to leave it. You see that little thing that says leave studio?
Why can't I see this?
Okay, I put it there. I put it on the chat. Everybody
On Twitter or Facebook?
Do you see it? Oh no, look at the chat on the side here.
Oh wait. Google something.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
I'm scared.
No.
Okay, now I'm scared.
Did you open it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna read it now. So those are the
God, yes.
Look like slavery devices.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
No,
wow.
Whoa.
Cellulite. Whatever, like I told you in the chat, I'm married. I don't give a fuck.
Working.
Oh my God.
You married the cellulite. Oh no.
But yeah, they have it here. If you look for it in Toronto, I'm sure they have it too, Jackie. Madero.
Yeah, I'm okay with my dimple. Lately, I've just been like, you know what? I like this dimple right here. I gained some weight through like even on like during quarantine, and I was like, you know what?
I really don't care anymore.
I've been
working out. I've been running and doing Chloe. These women have me doing Chloe with her smashed up like butter.
Chloe.
It's called Chloe Ting.
She's a Chinese
Chloe
Ting.
Chloe Ting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Gibran likes her too.
Really? He's still doing it?
She built her butt. That was impressive. She built a butt.
Chloe also got some butt implants, I'm sure. That's just like believing in Chloe these days.
Don't come for my girl because she did a video debunking myths and things that people say about her.
And you believe it.
Huh?
And you believe it.
Look, watch it. Well, no, don't watch it. Like you don't have to watch it. Like why would you watch it? But like she was, she was like pumping iron, and she had a fine man at that. Like he was fine.
Black,
right? Like a fitness, like her trainer.
black.
Or whatever. Yeah, black.
Of course, everybody gets their little. You know, I have it.
No, but they not her. Well, maybe they look. Anyway, he was on the weight, the actual machine. He was sitting on it, and he's a good like probably like 2 something. And I looked, and it had weights on the side. I'm like, this woman is this big, and she's like pumping, and she's not like normal during her workouts. She doesn't sweat nothing, which is like it really pisses me off.
Because she has air conditioner.
Huh?
Because she has a high air conditioner.
Dash
is like, I don't know what's wrong with Dash.
What are you talking?
Dash is sweat.
My air conditioner is blasting on me.
Studio
No,
that she doesn't even live in.
No, because I have the air conditioner on like -100, like Arctic blast, and I'm still like soaked in sweat. So like, no, that ain't it. And I'm right directly underneath the AC because I don't like
our conditions are different because we are women. We're black women that are burning a lot of juiciness.
That too, yeah. She's like 20 pounds max, like soaking wet.
I'm like this.
Exactly. All right, folks. This has been fun.
You know what? I just was this for live?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I just realized it
for an hour. Is this live?
You got tricked into a live. Gotcha, bitch.
Wow. So this is on Facebook? Oh, wow.
Damn. I had no idea. I thought it was just a call. Hello, everybody who's watching.
But it was fun.
Well,
Oh,
we
that's
have
awesome.
a special guest, Jacquie Comrie, creator of a car named Toronto, among many projects.
Thank you for the conversation.
How do people follow you, Jacquie?
Mm-hmm.
What is your
Jacquie Comrie? Just
Jacquie?
at Jacquie Comrie.
Okay, at Jacquie Comrie.
Well, how do you spell Jacquie though? Because there's different ways to spell it.
I'm writing it right now. Jackie Comrie.
Okay, Jacquie Comrie. And also another important.
No, John. Jacquie.
Oh, bueno.
Mírala.
Jacquie.
Check your cousin.
Jacquie.
Here, I put it on the side.
Listen.
Yeah, you got it.
Another important question, Janvieve. What lipstick are you wearing? Because you are slaying today. They was not ready. That was another reason why Telemundo was like,
is that Ruby Woo? Ruby Woo?
No. This is the lipstick that Evelyn, the main machetera of Caña Negra, gifted me.
Yeah. What lipstick is that?
It is Full Spectrum CoverGirl Matte Idol. It still has the label on. I think she bought it brand new.
What's the name of it?
¿Qué sé yo? Tyran.
We should do an episode about that, about like black girl makeup, because I think that is really
what.
Right?
I like it. It looks beautiful. Does it come off? Like when you go like this, it doesn't, right? It like stays.
Yeah. No transfer. Go kiss her mouth.
Well, this is what I had in my story, Ev, the one where is the little girl, you can't see, but like the little girl.
I can see it. Yeah.
And it's like this how y'all look in the club. The makeup is too light. You don't see the like separation. Like, come on.
Hold on. I have to show you all a picture of because I put on photo.
Hi, Roselane. the Silver Miller says,
Hi.
sending love and solidarity from
He
DC.
says, oi. He says, oi.
Oi.
Sending love and solidarity from DC. Because I think she's Brazilian.
Oi, okay.
Yes.
I have to learn Portuguese. I feel like
We need, all right, so yes.
Yes.
Shout out to, yes.
you speak Portuguese, Janvieve?
No. I speak Portuñol though.
Huh?
I speak Portuñol.
What's that?
Portuñol is Portuguese and Espanol.
You know when I first
So I want to show you a picture of Anayansi. See, yes, I am.
Yay.
Hey.
wait, what happened?
She's Portuguese. Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh.
Okay, Anna Jensen.
Wow.
She has the lipstick on. But that's not the picture that.
Like it's she looks stunning. Like this is really disturbing my soul.
Oh, qué linda.
The machete?
Yes.
Junior Machetera.
People always do like this.
There it is. Yeah.
Listen. If y'all listen,
There.
Give me a lipstick and the machete.
I feel like I have to give you more lipsticks now for Anayansi. So I'm like,
So she has on a furry jacket, lipstick, and she's holding a machete.
Yes.
The way God intended.
that's right. That's
I
right.
do these lives. Are we gonna do a live tomorrow?
I mean, this is fun.
Yeah, we could do a live. It's simple.
Mm-hmm.
But so we just have to figure out how we record the audio so we can also have a podcast, I guess. I don't know. Do we need a podcast still if we're doing
I was thinking that we do a live once in a while, right? You know, when we want to. But we have the pre-recorded podcast as well, you know?
Okay.
And the live maybe could be for instances like this when we're like pissed off, like we just can't even, you know what I mean? Because the editing, it takes a little time, but like sometimes things are urgent that we need to really get on it.
And then maybe we invite Jackie back whenever she wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I?
You know what? Maybe we can do at some point, Jackie, since you're an artist, maybe we can do like a Caña Negra tutorial, paint and sip.
Yeah, whenever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I have wait,
We'll be having.
I'm prepped. I have
Oh,
candy.
amazing.
Have that paint and sip for Jackie.
Oh yeah, we can
Yeah,
do Jackie whenever, because we also, I know that one of the things that we have been planning to do is doing some healing work.
Mm-hmm. Art therapy.
So art therapy, breathing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm gonna be having a workshop, online workshop very soon.
Okay.
So
let us know so
yeah.
we can also let people know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll
And
let people know.
Especially with everything that's happening, I think we need art more than ever, you know?
See?
So yeah.
Yay!
I could go right down to the Ray and get my little supplies.
Yes, go on and get you.
Yeah, let us know, Jackie. Whenever
Canvas and the paint for Jackie's online paint and sip. Mostly
you gotta bring your rum. Your rum for Caña Negra.
Mostly sip and with your red lipstick
and with
puff pads. And with Jackie.
Puff pads.
Puff paint.
Puff paint.
You know I'm good with the names.
We can have a sip and paint or puff paint.
You know what? My friend just had a Zoom party yesterday, and the first part was people baking edibles. Like there was like a pre-game. And so she actually taught you how to bake your edible. And then they had the Zoom party with a DJ, and you had your drink and your little like edible that you baked at home. And everybody was happy as fuck.
I love that.
So
I love
puff
that.
Amazing.
There was
like my mother used to say all the time, it takes una idea para que uno salga de pobre. So you know what? Jackie about to be rich.
Right. The thing is, Jackie, when you launch your registration page, right? You have a registration page and you have it as 2 events. What people don't know is it's the same event.
Right.
Puff page or sipping page.
That's right. We beyond the sipping. We just puffing now. We just like, you know what? The world is too. We can't wait that long. We just
pick your poison.
That's right. Oh, choices.
What?
choices.
And the song is poison. Poison.
Pick your own adventure. Pick your own adventure.
Yes.
You can go with this, or you can go with that. You can go with this, or you can go with that.
Jackie's like, I'm never coming back. Jackie's gonna be like, what the hell is this? I'm never coming back.
You can sip with this, or you can puff with that.
Oh! Wait, we gotta have two times. The sip is at 7 and the puff is at 9, or something like that.
Before you go to bed.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? We're here for it. We're here for the people. This too is a type of healing.
We're here for the people. That's right.
We're here for the people.
I'm having fun with this.
We can have one for Black people, and then we can have one for the Afro descendants.
That's not what you said. One for the Blacks and one for the Afros that are afraid to be Black. The Afros.
No, there's one for the Blacks and then one from the Afros established 2017 to 2020. They need their if your Blackness don't go past the Trump era,
I'm logging out. Bye, guys. Bye.
Like another.
No, I do like that. So we can have something for Black from birth.
Right. Yes.
And Nouveau Black.
Yes.
The ones that put Afro Latina in their bio in 2018.
Oh.
Well, established 2017.
Right. Established 2017 and beyond. You know what I mean? Blackness established.
The ideas flying on this live is
we're not even drinking, imagine.
I do like that though.
The jokes they write themselves. We didn't create the news. We just report it.
Oh, or Rizos 1 through 5.
Rizos versus Naps. It's a party. You know how they have those.
We make take a quiz. Are your Rizos 1 to 4? And then they go on that path. Right. Or your Naps 4B and up.
Yeah. We ain't shit. Shit. Somebody right now is cursing us out. They're about to write some.
No, the numbers are going down. That means that people are logging off.
They're like
the nouveau folks are logging off.
No, they're gonna write a think piece.
Yeah, they're gonna write a think piece by tomorrow.
3.
Brace yourself. You mean like these Black women were up on there talking about how we don't belong or we need
to tell me
segregate
my grandma.
No, they're like this.
Great grandma. Like this. I just found out last year. So there, don't say.
And we're like collecting the tears, like like quenching.
All right, y'all. All right. I'm gonna be serious. I'm not saying anything anymore.
Jackie's like, my cousin is crazy.
I know. Jackie's like, Jackie's like this.
Yeah.
Jackie's like, where's my mask?
Jackie's like,
oh my God.
No, but do you want to hear a real funny story? No, this is a real funny story. So I'm on the phone, not on the phone, on like a call with a potential client, right? And this is a white Latina woman.
Wait, did you cough?
I coughed. I don't have COVID.
No. God.
Oh,
So
Toca madera, papá. We like.
that's just like
I know.
Yeah, like yeah, to the screen, like I'm catching to the screen.
From across the, ma'am.
Oh my God.
so. Listen. So it's a white Latina woman, and it's a Chinese Latino man, right? These two, and they're interviewing me about this thing that's going to happen in Guatemala. Actually, that was going to happen in Guatemala. So they want me to facilitate, blah blah blah, and we're doing good. The interview is going great, and then the piece around interpretation comes up. So I said, well, I would rather work with interpreters that I know. And then the woman says, well, we already hired interpreters. And I said, well, who are the interpreters? And then she said, well, it's this Colombian woman that's really amazing. And I said, well, is she a woman of color? And then I said, no, she said, well, she's Colombian. And I said, well, is she a woman of color? And then the woman says, well, I'm Colombian too. And then
Answer your question.
but wait, then the Chino Latino guy, right? He's on like a chair, I guess, that has wheels. So he starts rolling back. He's like distancing himself from her. And then he has a big smile and he just leans away from her. And he's now at the very corner of the screen. And she's looking back at him like
Reenactment.
he's looking at him. She's looking at him like, what are you doing? Like, come back here. And he's like leaning in like this. He was like this. Because he's like, you're on your own.
Yep.
Oh my.
He ain't stupid.
Yeah.
What it was. But you know what? I think that, moving, like, having that conversation is so funny to me because people want the access, right, all the time. Like, I think in this era, you'll start seeing how much people want the access to whiteness, but they don't want the responsibility, right? So it's like, I'm not white. I'm
White passing.
whatever. What? Are we still talking about white passing?
Yeah, and then
let me go get my damn drink for real because now
I'm gonna go in. I hear Omar now like
what?
Not Omar, it's an argument outside of the house.
He what?
It's not Omar. It's an argument outside of the house. And I realized everybody's listening.
I was like, you said I hear Omar like, and I'm like what?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you gotta get ready to roll. Like you gotta.
Watch Evelyn. Evelyn's like,
Jackie was like what?
No, it's an argument outside. I thought the kids were back up.
Oh,
yeah. So anyway, so the conversation between me and her, I'm smiling like this. I'm like,
Oh my God.
and my eyebrows are just like that, and she's like this with her hair. I'm Colombian. I'm Colombian too. And then I said, oh, I know you're Colombian. I'm asking if this woman is a person of color. They were arguing with me. And she didn't answer me. So I was just silent. I was like, okay. So I said I would rather work with interpreters that are color because I find that I have a better rapport with them. That was it. But the guy in the little corner, his little head was over here. Little tiny head over here. All right, party people.
On that note,
bye everybody.
Thank you, Jackie.
Bye. Are we recording tomorrow or no? I didn't get that.
Yeah, let's fuck it. Let's see it. Let's I'm put on eyebrows though, because this is ridiculous. Usted me hubieran dicho, si me hubieran dicho,
I can't tell.
me hubiera pintado.
I'm
Like,
saying, I'm like,
you look cute, Jackie.
I had no idea this was live. I'm like in bed, like,
but you all
working.
Good.
Wait, let me see. Your hair is like, cut short. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a nice cut. Yeah.
So gorgeous.
My fro was, and I just, it was getting heavy, and my head was getting heavy, and I'm like, but I feel so nice now, and now I'm like growing it back, you know. Now it's yeah, I'm just like working on the waves. I'm loving it.
Get a do-rag. Remember the do-rag?
Do-rag.
Yeah.
Evelyn, the next time I see you, I need some do-rags.
Yes, please come get them.
You just have a supply of do-rags?
I told you some girl told Sen that he would look nice with waves, so he tried to get waves. The thing, he got waves, and literally, I think the day he saw waves, he started like, "Fuck it, I'm growing it back." And so, in between, he had like a do-rag for every look: pink, camouflage, white, red, orange, gold, silk, satin, velvet.
Velvet.
Oh man. My fucking money be wilding. Like they just like, he's like, "Ma, I need like 4 do-rags."
Oh my
and
god!
My dumbass trying to be supportive was like, "Okay."
Yeah. I remember I said to my brother, I wanted to kill him with that damn do-rag. Like I used to hide it. He was upset.
No, I don't like even I'm wearing a do-rag. If he wants to wear it to class and a hoodie, I'm like, no.
Yeah, so, he was wearing it to school, and I was just like, you know what? I didn't even know what to do. Like I was like.
And it's crazy because
would that be bad?
Was like,
no, but I was just like, that was my own like internalized, kind of like, oh my gosh, And then I was like, why the fuck? Just go on and wear your do-rag. So he was, that was me. Like it wasn't even him. I was just like, why am I
feeling a hamburger?
Ooh, that sounds good.
All right. Have dinner.
Go get your hamburger.
What did you have for dinner?
I didn't really have dinner. I was prepping for this bullshit.
What did y'all have for dinner?
We had stir-fried vegetables with coconut milk.
Oh, that sounds good.
I have to go. The kids are still up.
What?
Bye.
Wait, do I just leave the studio? Is that how this works?
Yeah.
When did you even sign in?
Studio.
I can put end broadcast and then everybody just leaves.
All right.
Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for the conversation.
Smash that like button.
Bye.